It long ago ceased to be a rescue operation, although the number of bodies so far recovered from the sea off Lampedusa remains at just over 111. It's now expected that the final number killed in yesterday's migrant boat tragedy could reach 350. And as the body count rises, so too the number of questions, not least what can be done to prevent similar events in future. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Jonathan Rugman reports.
They came to Europe fleeing war and poverty and ended up nearly drowning, tantalisingly close to the Mediterranean shore. Italy's coastguard rescued these 2 African migrants, but it's reckoned more than 300 may not have survived after their boat sank to the bottom. This morning, divers took the search underwater, to the seabed 40 metres below, to the rickety trawler which broke down with perhaps 500 people aboard. Though rough seas led to this search being called off. This is not a hunt for survivors now, but a body count for the hundreds who could not swim.
We will continue all day and all night until we can give these bodies a proper burial.
Grazie.
Over 150 Africans, many from Eritrea and Somalia, were more than thankful to be rescued yesterday. The Coast Guard is usually first alerted by a distress call, but in this case the boat did not telephone ahead. Instead, the migrants on board set fire to a blanket, and this desperate bid for attention proved fatal.
They
set a blanket on fire to make a signal, but some gasoline on the boat caught light and the water caused the fire to spread. They were scared and all moved to one side of the boat, so the boat capsized and they fell in the water, but many of them were trapped inside the boat.
We rescued naked guys, dirty from fuel. They had death in their eyes. It was an ugly and scary situation. I will never forget it. Even though I am 64 and I have seen a lot, this touched me a lot.
In Italy, flags have flown at half-mast on this a day of official mourning. Pope Francis was visiting Assisi, where his namesake, Saint Francis, once dedicated himself to the poor. The Pope abandoned his script and lamented a world which he said did not care about those who found death in Lampedusa yesterday, and calling this a day of tears.
Lampedusa. Ma oggi è un giorno di pianto.
But amid the anguish, with one newspaper calling this a shameful massacre, the Italians are casting this as Europe's problem just as much as theirs. The Interior Minister asked for Europe's help and claimed Lampedusa would be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. The survivors are being held in a so-called welcome centre on the island, where more than 8,000 have been received so far this year. And though Italy's Prime Minister is now calling for Europe to set up humanitarian corridors for migrant boats, far more likely are more hearses carrying more dead. Lampedusa's problem and no one else's.